Hey guys, and welcome back to another FPL midweek show and our last midweek show of the season, sadly. But, all good things have to come to an end for a little break anyway, because, we deserve it at this point, all of us. But as always, I am joined by the lovely Mira. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I can't believe this season's pretty much finished.
I
Yeah.
know, I
I will,
know.
there's a little bit more to go, but still it's almost there, and yeah, I can't believe that it's come around so quickly.
Yeah, I know.
Or it's dragged, I'm not sure. I can't make up my mind.
It's kind of been a mix of both. It feels like it's gone in a flash, but at the same time taken forever. Which is
Yeah,
just
there's
nuts.
been I think it's these double game weeks. They
Yes.
feel like it's just being drawn out, and I
Hmm.
almost forgot that there's two more matches to go this week.
Yep.
And yeah, so I feel like the double game weeks have definitely drawn it out a little bit more this season. I I'm pretty sure we didn't have this many double game weeks, right? Last season.
No, we didn't.
No.
No, we
Yeah.
definitely didn't. Not last game week. Not last season.
Yeah.
No, definitely. And hopefully not next season either.
Yeah, well, you never know, right?
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Exactly. You never know what will
I
happen.
think yeah, yeah. Well, I think that I remember seeing a tweet from someone saying hopefully we'll have a normal game, not normal season next year. And I was like, "Oh, I don't know what that feels like," because last season was my first season,
Mm.
so the last 2 seasons have been really interesting, in terms of cancellations and the pandemic, and then couple game weeks and just postponements and, oh gosh, yeah, so I can't imagine what a normal season looks like.
Hmm. Um. I think a lot of people are hoping that a normal season will be um less kind of templatey and things like that. But actually,
Right,
I don't necessarily think that it will be because I think that when there's less double game weeks and things like that, there are potentially less options to go each week. There's only a transfer or two transfers to make a week, so therefore less
right.
options for people to choose from. That said, I think the second wild card after the World Cup pretty much putting us all on the same team didn't help. So I think that's maybe where the difference might come,
That's
you
a
know.
that's a good point, actually. That's a really good point. Like, I think just thinking about that, that's like basically an extra wild card that we all got, and so
Yeah,
everyone managed to catch up if they hadn't. Typically, sort of, with 2 wild cards, you don't typically sort of catch up to the template.
agreed. Yeah. So I think that's
Mm.
where the main difference will come next season. Well, I say that, and unless, official have some surprises in store, which according to my sources they
Yeah,
do
we'll have
not.
to yeah, okay.
So
Well, you heard it here.
yeah,
There's not many surprises.
I don't think I think there's a lot of people wishing and hoping that things will change, but
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I mean, maybe with pressure things could potentially kind of mix up, but I don't think there's anything in the pipeline at the moment anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah, fair enough.
okay,
Good
cool.
to know, good to know.
Well, we are still in the throes of a game week, and
Yeah,
we
how's it going for you?
it's not been great. I'll be completely honest with you. I have not had the rub of the grain again this game week, but that's fine. It's been a bit like that since the restart, which I know we're going to chat a little bit about towards the end.
Yeah.
There's no real point kind of delving into it now, but game week 37 was just a kind of a game week of wrong choices again. I obviously, in the last stream last game week, I had the option just to do Bruno and Alvarez. It felt the
Mm-hmm.
safe,
Yeah.
the kind of boring option, I guess. And I decided not to go with the boring and try to be a bit different, and it didn't work
Yeah.
out, unfortunately. But as for yourself, I know that you went there, Mira. I'll get your team up on screen here. I know you
Yeah.
you you already have Bruno, but you did just do the one transfer for Alvarez.
Yeah, that's right. So I had two free transfers this week, and I think like I'd already made up my mind a couple of game weeks ago when I was doing my planning towards the end of, to get to the end of the season. And I'm pretty sure I made up my mind that I would love to have two free transfers going into 38.
Hmm.
And so I went Bruno quite early. I think I went Bruno game week 34, 35
Hmm.
actually. And so yeah, just kind of brought him in one game week early than what other people were sort of doing. And yeah, that's right. I just made one transfer and I took out Isak and brought in Alvarez. And that was always going to be a bit punty as well, like because we did not know what was going to happen with Arsenal,
Hmm.
and how Pep was going to play his team as well, and how City were going to line up. And obviously they went the opposite direction to what we thought they were going to go as well, which is, well, they'll play their strongest side, because the title race was still on. But I think with Arsenal's loss and then Pep sort of, taking his foot off the accelerator there, it just meant that the teams just, yeah, we just got a right sort of, mix of players, didn't we, from that City lineup.
Yeah.
So yeah, so from that point of view, I knew I was taking a bit of a risk bringing in Alvarez, but it seemed like it was the better option to go with, to sort of, let's just kind of spice it up a little bit and just bring in one transfer, something differential, and possibly a pick that I'm happy to keep till the end of the season as well. So, someone that I'd be okay to keep for game week 38 as well. Not to say that I'm definitely going to keep Alvarez or not. I have no idea. Like I haven't really decided on the picks that I want to make for the last games. But yeah, I wanted to pick someone that I reckon that I could get behind, and if I did want to just change two midfielders in my lineup, or a defender or something like that, then I don't really have to touch my forward line. So yeah, so I went with Alvarez. It worked out really well. I'm really happy with how it's going so far.
Hmm.
And of course, the Newcastle players just, well, the forwards blanking was just a delight as
Hmm.
well. Yeah, because again, did not know how that was going to go. I was really, really nervous about not having Isak in my team, having sort of just taken him out. But also Wilson, like Wilson's just been on fire.
Hmm.
And so I remember, the other, well, morning for me when I was watching the match, yeah, nothing gave me more joy than Wilson blanking and Isak blanking. Sorry, anyone else that had them, either one or both. But it was great because I also played Trippier, and that was always and Nim, I know you played Trippier as well, but yeah, I'm so glad that I did, because again, I didn't really have that many options in my back line either. And so, I don't have Shaw, and so I've got De Gea, and so, I was like, well, I'm going to play Stupinian, I'm going to play Trent because Trent, even though that didn't quite work out as we sort of hoped. But the options were Gabriel and Botman. So from that point of view, I was
Dogs
like, well, I've got to
protesting.
play Trippier. But yes, I'm really glad that I played Trippier. It's been really good, and it sort of brought me back into the top 5K as well. So I think I dipped to about 6K in the last game week, and then like right now it's around 4K. So I'm really happy with that. I think I didn't expect that going into this season for sure, and just the last couple of game weeks have been sort of up and down. It's been a bit of a roller coaster. It's like little nudges, it's like two steps forward, one step back. It's not really progressing. But yeah, really happy with that. But, I've only got two City players, and, I don't have Shaw again. And yeah, so it's going to be interesting for the last two games of this game week. And how that goes, because that could change a lot of things as well. But no, really happy with the move that I made. Glad I played Alvarez. He'll probably get benched, who knows now. As long as he turns up with the squad and has a chance to come on, I'm kind of okay with that. He's already returned, so I'm okay with it.
I don't see him getting benched. Honestly, genuinely, I feel like if Pep is going to protect Haaland, then Alvarez is the next best option for them. So, which is why when we go on to my team, you'll see that I'm really hurting from it.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
like, I guess for my transfers, I I'm still keeping the options open. So I've been doing a fair bit of like just looking around at what players I want to pick and punt on. And look for the last game week. I think I'm just going to go for some fun picks because I'm really happy with where my rank is. I'm not really, I'm not too bothered about like where it ends up. If I end up in the top 10K, I'm really happy with that. My goal was top 100K. So last season I finished 190, so I'm really okay with like wherever it sort of ends up. So yeah, so my two picks are probably going to be in the midfield, maybe up front, depending on who I decide up front. But yeah, at the moment I'm like thinking about a fair few players that could be quite spicy. So even players like Ferguson, like do I upgrade Greenwood to Ferguson or something like that and take out, yeah, I don't know, Mac or Matoma and bring in an Eze or something like that. So yeah, I've got sort of some money in the bank. So yeah, I'll probably have a think about those. And yeah, there's quite a few picks that I've sort of been looking at but not quite certain about.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I see that you have Gabrielle playing over Stupinan at the moment. Is that just because you are maybe thinking about considering selling a Stupinan or or Matoma or something for
No, just
another
I
Brighton
just think
player? Or?
I just think Villa's going to score. I
Okay.
think they've got a lot to play for. They've got Europe to play for as well. So yeah, I think there's still a chance there, and they're probably going to score. So yeah, and honestly, like I didn't think that I'd be thinking about bringing Watkins back, but Watkins is on the radar again,
Oh
right?
my
And
God,
so
really?
yeah,
I
well,
sold
why
him.
not?
Sold him last
Yeah,
week.
but why not? I
Okay.
sold him a very long time ago.
Hmm.
For you, it's probably going to be a little bit more, recent.
Yeah.
But for me, I sold him, I don't know, about 5 game weeks ago or something like that. It was a bit risky because everyone still had him. But yeah, Villa will probably score. And yeah, I think from a clean sheet point of view, I'm not really hopeful there. Obviously, Estupinian can hurt us from an attacking return, so that's going to be a bit tricky. But yeah, I don't know. Like Wolves are not scoring that much, so I'm kind of hoping that Gabriel will be a good pick instead. Not sure about playing Trippier as well, but then Chelsea are not scoring either. And I say that before, the final game week of the final game of this game week.
Hmm.
So we have no idea how
No.
that's actually going to go down.
No.
And Chelsea, you never know. But yeah, I mean, given that they didn't get a goal, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting how that sort of shapes up. So yeah, so at the moment, yeah, I'm looking at playing Trent and Gabriel and Trippier, and hoping that Trippier sort of returns again. Wouldn't that be amazing? For those that have sold him. But in midfield, I'm probably going to switch out two players. I'm not sure. Like I'm tentative about Bruno. I think Bruno's a really good shout to have in the last game week. But I think it's going to be between Bruno and Rashford. I'm not sure which one I want to keep at the moment. I'm just waiting for that last match of this game week to work that out. Same with Mac and Matoma. So I could easily sort of take two out from the midfield, probably keep Salah, probably captain Salah as well at the moment. I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure about that. But yeah, very likely. I think if Rashford was fully fit, depending on how he plays this week as well, he could be a good captaincy pick as well. I'm not sure, it's still sort of up in the air on that. Or I take out Alvarez. So
Mm.
I could take out Bruno and take out Alvarez and think about bringing in Kane, maybe Eze. But there's a whole bunch of players that I've been eyeing up as well. So, players like Rodrigo, whose
Mhm.
Leeds have got lots to play for at the
Yeah.
moment. So
I think
yeah,
he
there's
picked
there's
up
a
an
few like
injury,
that.
or we heard something that said he's got some sort of injury, though. Because I was
Oh,
looking at
has he?
Rodrigo as well, yeah, and apparently he picked up an injury in the last game, and in the press or the
Yeah,
interview, they
okay.
said that he might have picked up some sort of injury, which is a bit annoying because he's definitely somebody on my target list
There's
as
a
well.
bunch. Yeah, there's a bunch, isn't there? I mean, even like the Arsenal players. So, there's a bunch around like, I don't know, do we go for Odegaard again? And do we go for Saka? Do we go for even, Jesus as well up front? Maybe not Trossard, Martinelli being out, Trossard's getting that game time. So, are some of these picks good options? Not
Hmm.
sure. But even Ramsey, right? Like Ramsey got some
Yes,
returns
Ramsey
from the
is
Villa
one
side.
I am looking at, and I think
Yes.
he could be the person that comes in with Kane if I get Kane in, because I can't afford Eze. But it's just whether I'm happy to lose Bruno, and that may all
Yeah.
depend, obviously, on tomorrow evening. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the other players I've got on my radar are like Harrison, as well for Leeds,
Hmm.
Madison Barnes as well.
Hmm.
Harvey Barnes, like he looked good when he did come on. It was a
Yep.
bit, I was surprised that they came on late, but yeah, their options as well. Um, and even Son.
Yeah.
If not
Yeah.
Kane, why not Son? So, Bruno to Son could be interesting.
Hmm.
And then sort of drop down Alvarez to, I don't know, maybe Johnson or something like that.
Mm.
Again, Forest might be sort of, playing it cool now, but yeah, you never know because
Yeah, the
there's a
final
bit
game
of
week always throws up so many surprises. And by nature of us being a
exactly.
midweek show, obviously, yes, it's great when the game weeks are normal, but when they're a bit up in the air like this and we've got double game weeks, it makes it a little bit tougher because obviously we don't have all of the information we'd love to have while we're discussing all of this with you guys. But it's just we still love to chat about FPL, and we hope we can still help in some ways with you kind of digesting stuff and come along on the journey with us as we're kind of digesting it as well, so yeah, I think you've got plenty of options. We've both got plenty of options, I guess. All of us probably for game week
Yeah, but
38.
I'm curious, like if there's anyone like if the chat have any suggestions for
Hmm.
my team
Yeah.
for fun picks, because I'm not too worried about, like I said, I'm not too worried about protecting my rank.
Mm.
I'm yeah, like the mini leagues. I don't think I can catch up to. I think there's two mini leagues that I did want to try and win, but they're like 30, 40 points ahead. So
Yeah.
not too bothered about that. But yeah, if there's any
Wow,
suggestions, then
if
yeah,
they're
they're,
30
they're
or 40
open.
points ahead, they must be having an even stellar season than you. Wow, well
Oh
done.
yeah, they're in top, 1K region.
Mad,
Yeah, good
mad.
on them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair play. Okay, cool. Well, this is my disaster of a team. We don't have to delve in as much. But yeah. Just I have been on the flip side of this coin, right? Most of the season, the wrong side of the coin. So I decided to try and do something a little different. I was quite keen on getting Mahrez. I just had
Mm,
a bit of a feeling for him. Slightly annoying he didn't get that assist for Alvarez the other day,
mm,
but I guess it would have hurt me more if it had have stood because of so many people around me owning Alvarez. There's been so many of these picks this season where it feels like they're not really an important pick, and then all of a sudden loads of people seem to have done the move last minute, right? And so
mm,
you
mm.
you you suddenly thinking to yourself, well, that person is not going to hurt because nobody's really got them. But then you go on Twitter around deadline time and you feel like you're the only person who suddenly doesn't own them, right? So
I think
that's
that's always the way. That's always the way, though, isn't it? Like we always
yeah,
want what we don't have,
yeah.
even if it might not be the best pick.
Hmm. Agreed. I was flip flopping between Cisco or Ferguson as a
And
bit of a pan,
CISO,
and
yeah,
CISO or Ferguson, and CISO. It's because I have the
you got Cisco in
Cisco
your
on the
mind,
brain.
yeah.
Yeah, like the thong song gif. I want to be able to use that once. Damn it. Um, and
Oh, I thought you
Seiko.
did.
Yeah, no, just to kind of get it out there. I was like, I want to be able
That's
to
all
use
right.
this
Just
one.
stick it. Just
Yeah,
stick it in every comment now.
every comment now. Yeah, when Brighton post their team tonight, I'm just gonna keep spamming until
Yeah,
they
yeah.
forgive. Um, But yeah, I was kind of between the two, and I just wanted to try and do something a bit different because I was like mullering around that kind of 90, 100k, wanted to try and give myself that opportunity maybe to kind of propel myself up. And it kind of felt like this wave of Alvarez's were happening. And I'll be honest, I didn't think he'd get the first game. And when he did, that's when I realised I'd made a really big mistake, because I assumed he would play against Brighton and I assumed he would play in the last game week. So that's when I think I kind of, and I know you shouldn't kick yourself in this game, but it is quite hard not to when you can look back and you can go, I really should have done that, because the law of averages were that you could have got 2 games out of him, which is what you could get from most players, but you might have got an extra game as well, of which most people who own him now are likely to get. So
yeah, but I think that's hindsight bias though,
of
right? Like
course,
there's and you can't really say that it was a bad pick, or it was a good pick. Like, all of these options were good, right? Like there's no sort of, we can't sort of presume that there's only a small bucket of players that are going to return, because you can get returns in every match, right? And so
of course.
yeah, so it's really sort of, which one's going to return more, and then how much are they owned, right? Like just really breaking it down to the basics there. So it's not a bad pick. It's just, it's a shame because like Enciso has been playing really, really
He
well.
has, and what worries me now is the hooking at half time. So that doesn't really suggest he's going to start tonight, because it suggests that Desiree was really unhappy with him enough to pull him at half time, like not even leave him on until the 60-minute mark. So that really concerns me, because it's not like we're playing like a Southampton or something tonight where he can go, oh well, let's shove him on, see how he does at the start of this match, and then I can hook him again if he's doing badly. He's gonna put out who he thinks is strongest, right? So unless there's something going on with him where he didn't feel particularly well or something, but from my reports, because I didn't actually see the game, from what I'm hearing from most people is he just played really terribly, which it just concerns me, because I don't think he'll start, and there's a very likelihood then, I guess, that he doesn't even come on at all. So for my punt, I could be walking away with one point, and that's kind of, at this stage in the season, that's really quite hard to take, when I could have literally not taken a hit this week. I could be sat here with Matoma's assist, and I could be sat here with Alvarez's goal, and who knows how many more that's going to come this evening. So for myself, looking at to game week 38, Kane was very highly kind of strong in my mind initially, but actually I may just try and undo the damage that I did last week, and I may just get Alvarez in, because I do believe he will play in the last game week. And I know it could seem a bit like chasing points, but there comes a point where you need to be a little bit careful that I've kind of taken my punt now and it hasn't worked. And so if I slip too far away, then it's at that point where do you weigh up, okay, well, I may as well have another punt for the last game week and hope that it helps. Or do I just go, you know what, Alvarez is playing really good. I think he's going to play. Should I just buy him? I have Isaac sat there. He's an easy sideways move. I don't have 3 City. It's not going to cost me anything.
But if not Alvarez, because there is a risk that he'll play limited minutes as well, right? So would you not want to go for a player that will get 90? Or at
so
least
Kane
close
is
to
nailed
90.
for 90, right? So that's the other thinking. Isaac to Kane, Bruno to Ramsey is very much in my mind. I think I would have liked Eze, but I'm not going to be able to get to him. I'm like 3 or 4 short, annoyingly. But I don't mind the Ramsey punt. Genuinely, I don't. So I think they
Yeah.
could be my way. That's going to be a -4, though. It is going to be for a hit. So it's kind of that 90 minutes versus a free transfer, could be the thing. But Ferguson as well is playing really well, and I'm not necessarily completely out of the mindset of potentially just switching
Yeah,
for Ferguson either. So
I feel like he's going to get a start,
yeah.
like given that he got a brace, I feel like he's going to get a start against City. And it's very likely, that he'll get a start in the last match as well. So yeah, I think that's a good pick. I think if I were you, I would be thinking about who's going to give me the most minutes, because Alvarez does not instill me with that confidence.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Not from a minutes point of view. Like, we just don't know what Pep's going to do, right?
No, we don't. Well, that's Pep for you all over, isn't it? So
Yeah.
knowing my luck, I'll sell Cisco, Cisco, and I will all bench him, and he'll play in the last game week and get the hat trick he should have got this week for me, because that is how my season has gone. But I see that we both have Salah as captain, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I'm actually quite confident with that. I mean, it could be tough if we hear that Haaland is starting, not to kind of run back to the safety of Haaland. But I actually really like Salah for the last game week, and
Yeah. I do too, yeah.
I think I'm quite settled with that at the moment.
I wouldn't say
depends what happens.
I wouldn't say that I'm settled with it. I've sort of been contemplating other captaincy options as well. No, I'm generally sort of okay with that. I think Haaland's going to get, he's going to start. I feel like, if he doesn't start like the other day, I think he'll probably start in the last match. I reckon, I mean, he wants to get goals, right?
Yeah.
Wants to create records.
Yeah. I doubt he was out partying so much with the others. It doesn't really seem like the guy, so it'll be interesting. Hopefully he starts tonight, right? Because he's my captain right now, and I need points. So, if he could start tonight, that'd be great.
Let's see. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I just want my team to start. Like, is that too much to ask? Just want my players to start. You wouldn't think it'd be that much to ask for this season, but apparently it is for me.
Yeah, well, I feel for people that had held on to their free hit, right? So a lot of people played their free hit in 37. A lot of people played their triple captaincy in 37 as well.
Yeah.
And they put it on Haaland, thinking like they were saving for that as well. So yeah, I think my sympathy definitely goes to those folks that kept hold of those chips right till the end of the season, expecting Man City to go full throttle and go hard against their final few opponents, but that's not quite worked out.
No, it hasn't at all. Okay, right, cool. Well, let's move on to our questions then, because we had a fair few of them. And I will just pull them up. So we'll go for the top. Do I pick out the FPL ones first, or just work down them?
So.
Okay. Okay, so Marcus has got one here, and he says this is a bit late, but one transfer, 1.4 million in the back. Suggestions for transfers, please. So he has Steele, Trippier, Trent, Shaw, McAllister, Matoma, Salah, Rashford, Fernandes, Haaland, Alvarez. I think I would just throw this out there that we're going on the assumption in this stream that we're hoping Rashford gets minutes, right? Because he's back in training. Doesn't necessarily mean that he will, just because he's back in training. kind of hoping that he does, because there's an awful lot of bench jam happening. And I think there's an awful lot of bench jam for people who look like they're going to get some nice people off the bench for Grealish this evening. I do not need somebody
so
else
annoying.
getting bench jam.
Should have played Trippier.
Yeah, exactly. You should have just played him. That man, I've played him all season. Literally through all of the 1 points, all of the 0 points.
Yeah, I think someone asked me about that on Twitter, saying, why did you, like, I sold him weeks ago. Why do you still have him?
Yeah, right.
And I was like, well, I had other priorities.
Yeah, exactly. I had other priorities,
and then I had to play him. So
you should have been like, no, I knew he was going to pop off for the last 2 game weeks. It was just a matter of time.
I'm not even going to pretend I knew anything like that. Didn't have an inkling whatsoever. It was sort of, do I have faith in Gabriel or do I play Trippier?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, fair play. So he's got a fairly template team, and we're going to assume that Rashford is starting. So what would we do with this team? I mean, on free transfer, I would be tempted maybe to take a punt on moving one of the Brighton midfielders on for somebody. Personally, maybe an Eze or a Ramsey, or for a team that's got something to really fight for.
Yeah, it depends. It depends if Marcus wants to pick a fun pick.
Mm-hmm.
And if so, then maybe one of the Brighton mids. Or does he take out Kepa or Steele and play a different goalkeeper?
Yeah,
like
I don't
could
know.
it be Allison?
I love a bit of attacking threat on the final gameweek. Greenwood to Ferguson.
Yeah, but it's not bad.
Oh no, you've got Steele. Yeah,
but it's not a bad. It's not a bad lineup anyway.
No, it's great lineup. It's great lineup.
Yeah.
So
it's not too dissimilar to what we've got. So
yep.
This has become the template, hasn't it? Something similar to this.
It has.
I don't know. Like I'd probably look at changing the goalkeeper, because I think if you pick the right goalkeeper, clean sheet could be a lot of fun. Or go for one of the Brighton mids, maybe switch one of them out. Maybe McAllister might be lowly owned.
I wonder, could he do Trippier to Robertson? That could be a fun punt for the last game week.
Yeah, maybe.
Potentially. If you
how much is Trippier? How much is
Robertson? Is like six something. Let me go look. I shall go look.
Yeah, probably about 6.8, 6.7.
Yeah, I mean, just like as a kind of complete out there like punt against, like 6.8 he is against Southampton. He could be a bit of a shout.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that Liverpool's clean sheets are a bit kind of few and far between at the moment, but yeah, I mean, it's whether you think Chelsea's going to score right against Newcastle. That's kind of deciding, because otherwise you just keep Trippier. Like there's no selling him otherwise. You just may as well.
Yeah,
I may as well just see out the season with him now. Like I'm stuck with him this far. I may as well see out the season.
I think.
Him.
Yeah, and I think for Marcus, maybe a goalkeeper. I reckon.
Yeah,
just pick a
The other thing to do, Marcus, is it's really boring, but you could wait and see if there's a leak on the last day. Of course, there will be loads of them, but see if there's one you trust.
That by default.
And if Haaland doesn't start, maybe use your one transfer to go to Kane. That could be as simple as that. It's boring, but it could just do the job. Yeah. If you're happy that Haaland isn't going to come on and score 3 goals. Because that is always the fear with him, isn't it?
Yeah, but I was just going to say, I feel like we should stop fearing that as well.
Oh, nice.
We have to.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, otherwise, where's the fun in playing this game if you're constantly sort of fearing, Haaland to come on and just kind of destroy you,
ruin you? Yeah, I think you've felt the fear and done it anyway against that particular thing, and you've kind of lived the hurt. And once you've lived it, it kind of feels a bit similar to me with Salah when I sold him and he really hurt me. I think at that point you just go, well, I've lived that, and you know, it
Yeah.
can't be any worse. So you're kind of a bit
Yeah.
braver to doing it. So yeah. FPL Maverick says, is it worth taking a hit in game week 38? So what do
Depends
we
what you're
think
playing for.
on a hit?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but depends. Like if you're chasing your rank, do it. You
Yeah.
know, anything is possible. It feels like for the last game week, there's so many good options as well. Why not
Yeah.
live a little? That's. I'm gonna be like, you know, just doing a lot of YOLO this week, I think.
Yeah, just go for it, man. Just go for it. Yeah, I don't hate it. I've never been hit first, so I think
Yeah,
it's totally worth it. I mean, if you're
depends
very
on your mini
happy with
leagues
your
or
if you're very happy
yeah,
with your rank and your mini league, then maybe don't risk it. But to be honest, at this stage in the season, you could just go for
yeah.
it and have a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's not like your pick you need to hold on to going into game week 1 for next season, so have fun.
Agreed. Focus says, if you was to attack the last game week with a different captain to Haaland, who would you choose? Well, we've kind of covered that a little bit. We've said Salah, but would you consider Kane potentially,
Yeah.
Mira? Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I brought in Kane, I'd probably captain Kane.
Yeah.
I would even consider one of the Man United players as well.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, depending on how they play this week,
Yeah. We
you
have
know, in
to
the
get a
final
look at
match.
them. Have to
Yeah.
get a look at them tomorrow. Okay, cool. So he who must not be named says these streams were much appreciated and looking forward already to next season. What about KDB to Son for the last week punt? Well, you brought him at Mira, so we think he could be an option.
Yeah, why not?
He's
Like it's Leeds, right?
yeah, he's lacking a little
Yeah.
bit in finishing prowess at the moment, is Sonny, isn't he? Bless him. But I don't think that necessarily makes him a bad shout, because that's the thing
No.
with punts, is that you are
They're pants, are they?
yeah, they're punts. They're pants. My ones are anyway. They're thongs. It was too good. Sorry, I've got all blurry. My camera's like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
Take her off.
It's too good. It's too good. Clip that. Yeah. So yeah, I think if it's a pun, right, that's what you're hoping for. You're kind of going against the grain a little bit. You're just kind of chucking it out there into the universe that you hope that it happens. And I don't see that it's a bad one. It's
No.
you know, Son always has
I
that
like it.
potential. You know, he always has that potential to come up trumps when you least expect it.
Yeah,
So
I reckon so. I mean, I was just looking at so Son's already had 10 goals. Um yeah, look, he's playing all right. Like, yeah, he's not the Son from last season, but yeah, it's the final game week. It's Leeds. Spurs have been abysmal as well. So yeah, you never know. Like they may sort of show up for that last game. Yeah, let's see. I
mhm.
think, Son's a really good shout to bring in anyway. It's not like captaining him unless you want to captain him as well.
um, GV says, how different are you planning your next year's streams? Is his question. Now, GV, I was going to throw this back to you, because I was going to ask you what you thought you enjoy of the streams and what you would change of the streams, because at the end of the day, for us content creators, about providing the best content we possibly can for you guys. So it'd be really interesting to get your feedback. Let us know what you like and what you dislike. Obviously, myself and Mira have to look at the situation, because we are both on opposite sides of the world. So we are hoping we can continue it on next season, but obviously there's a little bit of kind of working out if and when and
Yeah.
how often. But hopefully we'll still be able to get a couple in for you guys. But do let us know what you enjoy. And then we will obviously try and apply it for next season. Ian Matthews says, Nim, are you going to go batshizzle for game week 38? I would love nothing more than go batshizzle, but I thought that going Alvarez and Bruno would be slightly batshizzle in the middle of last week, and then it turned out to be the popular pick. And then my initial reaction was I was going to go Kane and Eze this week as my batshizzle, but now that seems to be the popular pick. So I'm not even sure what is batshizzle anymore.
What when you say batshizzle, what is batshizzle? For those of us that may not know what batshizzle is.
No, great question. So because the algorithm doesn't like us swearing on daytime shows very much, it tends to knock us down a little bit. It's basically means that you go batsh.
I'm glad I haven't dropped any F-bombs then.
It basically just means you go batsh crazy, and it means that you go against the crowd. So whatever everyone advises you to do, you pretty much do the opposite, or you try and find something completely different to do, basically. And
so you're going against, you're going with the crowd with your Alvarez pick. If you go for that, I feel like you should go batshizzle in that case.
It's just finding the punt that isn't too punty again, because it didn't work out for me this week.
What's going to hurt you? But what's going to hurt you? Nothing's going to hurt you. Like, it's at that point where you've got a really good
Alvarez is going to hurt me.
Really? Like, how much? What's Alvarez owned?
I haven't got the right website up, but
can't be that much.
He's got a big skeleton next to me on FPL Live.
Less than 6%.
Let me bring him up. Let me see.
Less than 6% selected. I don't know, like, what it is around your rank, but surely not that much. Come on.
12.2%.
Oh, that's nothing.
It's nothing. I'm losing.
I've got a skeleton on shore who is 75% for me.
I'm losing
75%.
Wow. Okay. I'm losing 4,884 places at the moment to Alvarez. So he is currently keeping me outside of the top 100k at the moment.
Shaw's
and that could get
9
worse
points dropped me by 2,000 places.
Yeah, but what I found with your staff this season is that whilst this is really unhelpful to people. I'm sorry, the screen's all off to one side. I'll bring it back to there. So is that you've been quite good in where you take your punts that you've got somebody else that can still pull up the ground. So while Shaw has hurt you, Trippier has probably pulled a fair bit of that kind of back for you.
Shaw's still playing. He's got to play again.
That's true. But also, what could also hurt us is Trippier coming off of the bench.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I'm with you.
That's what I mean. Like, Alvarez is not highly owned. So if you did pick someone else and go for a fun pick, it really wouldn't be so bad.
No. I don't know. Who's fun anymore? Who's fun? Is FPL fun anymore?
I just gave you a whole list there. There's Harrison, there's Vardy, there's Madison.
Vardy, whoa, okay. Yeah, no, Vardy's a good shout. We didn't discuss that one, but he is a good shout. He could be. I don't think he'd be around much next season, but.
Well, yeah, exactly. So why not? Right?
Vardy,
there's Eze,
maybe.
there's McNeil. Looking at my list, you had Ramsey on your mind.
Yeah, Ramsey is definitely on my mind. Ramsey and Kane could be the right kind of batshizzle for me.
Yeah,
because it's like it's a -4. It's one punty player, one safe.
Yeah,
it could be the right kind of batshizzle for me. So that's the other terminology for batshizzle, is when you basically just take a load of hits as well, when it's in a week where nobody really takes that many hits. So that's the other when you can use it as well, is when you just go for a -12 in a single game week when nobody else is kind of doing it. You can call yourself batshizzle then as well. So I don't think I'll be taking a -12. Then again, you never know. You never know, but maybe. I mean, at this point, Why
What have
not?
you got to
As I
lose?
said the other day in a tweet, what's 200k to 100k between friends, you know? And then nobody's going to look back on my season and go, oh, well, she made the top 100k. Although I do keep getting reminded that that is technically 1% this season. Because
Yeah,
that is like,
there's so
because
many
there's so
players.
many players now where top 10k used to be the benchmark because it was considered, you know, top 1%, and if you could be consistent with that, then you were considered a good player. But now that has to be considered the top 100k because there's just so many people playing that just to be in the top
Yeah,
100k with especially with all of the luck differentials and stuff like that, you have to consider it. So
yeah,
it's just, yeah, you just got to go for it.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, we did that one. Matish says, well done, glad you've kept it going. Thank you, buddy. We've done focuses. David
I
asks,
think I saw, sorry, go.
yep,
I was going to say, I think I saw a late one coming from Roberto.
Roberto. Okay, I'll refresh in just a second. Let's do David's then. He said,
Yeah.
I'd like
All
to
right.
know how you both come to FPL in the first place and how did you manage your team your first season, not necessarily your rank, but how it was different to now. Would you like to take that, Mira, while I look to see what's come in?
Yeah, sure. So I knew about FPL for quite a few years, but never really sort of got into starting and playing. And I always found it really difficult to follow the football over here in Australia. So I think that was always a challenge. The games are pretty much overnight, so I used to always just watch some highlights here and there, mostly the Liverpool matches, and keep on top of like the Champions League, that kind of thing. But I had to make a trip to the UK in 2021 when we were under a lockdown over here in Australia. So I had to actually apply to leave the country. I had to write a letter to government to leave the country, to let me leave the country, which is really bizarre when you look back at it and sort of think about all of that. But anyway, that's when the Euros were on. And I got sucked into football all over again, like deeply sucked into football all over again. And it was actually my brother-in-law who said, "Hey, you should join FPL and create a team and start playing. And we've got a family. We'll start a family league and all of that." I was like, yeah, okay, why not? I'll give it a go. And I knew when I got back to Australia, I was going to go into hotel quarantine for 2 weeks, not 10 days like you guys had in the UK. So I had 2 weeks of hotel quarantine and a bit of time on my hands. So I that's how I got into FPL. I sort of learned in the couple of weeks that I had in hotel quarantine. This is August, so the season had just started. Hadn't discovered FPL Twitter. And yeah, I just started to work out how to play this game. Also noting I played like my triple captaincy in game week 2 or 3 or something like that. I had no idea what I was doing. But how is it different? I would probably say, um, yeah, look, I last season I took 40 something hits, played my triple captaincy in game week 2. I did not know what I was doing with the chips and all of, like how to play properly. So I think this season, I've definitely kind of like just brushed up on the basics and then started to play, looking at a little bit more around the stats and eye testing and watching some more of the matches this time round as well, to the detriment of time and energy and all of that. So I have no idea if I'm going to be able to give the same level of energy next season. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and it goes to show, like, I feel like I've given it a little bit more effort, but yeah, I didn't expect to sort of be where I was in current rank. But yeah, I think that's where I've sort of changed my playing style a little bit.
Yeah, cool. Well, I got into it a long, long time ago, and I was at uni, and my best friend was mad into football, and he played FPL, and nobody else in our kind of group of friends were that interested in football, and I kind of only really been following how Arsenal have been doing, you know, pretty much throughout my teenage years. And anytime I watch Match of the Day, it was to see how Arsenal were doing. But I came into his room, and he was like filling out his little stuff in his paper and things, and he was just sorting out his team. And I was like, "What you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm playing this game, this online fantasy football game." He was like, "And I got nobody to play it with because nobody here likes football." And I was like, "I'll play it with you. You can show me." And I think it kind of just snowballed from there. So the first season I played, I beat him, and because I beat him, I was kind of like, "Oh, this is great! Like, I'm really good at this." And so it just grew from there. And then when I left uni, I went back to obviously my friends at home who were more football orientated, and they got involved in our mini leagues. But from the first couple of seasons of me playing, I only played for my mini league. I did not know about Twitter, YouTube, anything like that. It was all about just beating my friends effectively in their mini leagues.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the difference, I think, has probably been for me in my growth from back then to now, is that it was all about mini leagues and winning my mini leagues. And the moves I would make were to block off players who bought players, or you know, to get a player that another player doesn't own. It was all about my mini leagues. I didn't even know that OR was a thing. And I know that sounds really silly. I know it was on the website, but I had no idea that people actually, like, there was this Hall of Fame, or that people, like, were caught up in the fact that it was important that you had this overall rank. Like, because I had no socialization around it, I had no concept of knowing that it mattered effectively.
How many players would there have been back then as well?
Not nowhere near as many as now. I think it's been pretty steady, like between, for the last 4 or 5 years before last season, where it took a massive hike. So I think it was around the like 7, 8 for a couple of seasons, and then like kind of skyrocketed the last 2 seasons. So we must have been looking around maybe 4 to 6 million, probably, I would have thought.
Oh wow, okay.
So
yeah,
probably
it's not much.
Nowhere near as many back then. So and then obviously when I started making, I just thought it'd be really fun, because at the time I was doing media at uni, and I knew a bit about making videos and stuff, and I just thought, oh, I wonder how fun it'd be to kind of vlog a season and put it up on YouTube, and that's kind of like where this has come, like all of this has come from. But
yeah, right.
So my biggest difference from back then to now, David, you know, nothing to do with rank or anything, is just that I only ever played for my mini leagues back then, and now obviously it feels that as a content creator, you need to have a good OR for people to really kind of, it feels like you need to have a good OR for people to kind of take you seriously, because what's difference maybe between now to back then is I feel like people would consume content for entertainment back then. So they would just find it enjoyable to watch you failing, or to see you doing batshizzle things, you know, just for the sheer entertainment of watching what you were going to do, basically, because there wasn't this surge of content giving advice. Whereas I feel like now, if you're not giving advice, if you're not giving something that's helpful, it can be at a detriment of people wanting to see, you know, wanting to see you and wanting to consume your content. So quite interesting how it's all changed. And yeah, so sorry that went on a little while, but we did have one more question, as you said, and then we'll just quickly get to the chat, because I know you guys will want to watch Burning Questions, which is on in a bit. But let me see if I can find it. So it's from Roberto, and he says, sorry it's late. 2 frees, wants a forward for Alvarez, and who to sell of Mahrez or Matoma for a Newcastle mid. Forwards are scarce, probably Edouard or Awanawi. would you get Bowen? Oh, Bowen! I didn't even think about him. He's a great shout, but if I got Bowen, I wouldn't be able to get Kane. That would be the only issue. Luis Diaz, Trossard, Eze, who is MGW? I can't think off the top of my head. Depending
Morgan
on
Gibbs White.
Yes, depending on who I sell. And then they've got the team up. So, any thoughts?
I really like the Bowen pick.
Yeah, I like the Bowen pick as well. But who would you sell for? Would you sell Mahrez to Bowen?
Yeah, I guess so. Like, I'm probably not the best source of advice right now. I'm sort of playing YOLO at the moment,
YOLO.
right?
Yeah, do it. Why not?
But,
Go for it.
Pep's going to do Pep things.
He is.
And so, I think Mahrez is definitely a bit more nailed. I say very tentatively nailed for Premier League matches. But yeah, it's really hard to say. So I'd be okay with losing Mahrez, actually. Yeah, that's not a bad shout. Losing Mahrez, bring in Bowen.
I mean, if Rashford doesn't play tonight, do we?
But if not Diaz, maybe even Gakpo. Like, I think I gotta, Gakpo looks really good. Slightly biased, but Gakpo looks really good.
Yeah, he does. I love Gakpo. So maybe you can see what's going to happen with Rashford, right? You have two free transfers, so I guess the question is, if Rashford doesn't play tonight, do we risk that he starts on the weekend? That would be my thing, because if he's not well enough to play, tomorrow night, if he's not well enough to play, then how many minutes is he realistically going to get in the final game week, right? So, like you said, it's maybe about starters, right, in the final game week?
Yeah, well, when's the FA Cup? Like, when's that happening?
I think it's like the weekend after the final game.
I feel like Rashford would want some, match fitness time, surely.
Yeah, that's a good point. So maybe Mahrez, I guess.
Yeah, I think Mahrez or Mitoma, like either one. I think Mitoma will hurt a lot more as well. So it just depends, like, Roberto, if you're trying to salvage, anything there, or not too concerned. But yeah, I reckon Mahrez would be okay to remove. But then, do you really want to go into the last game week with limited City players as well against Brentford?
Because I was going to say he could go for Gakpo or maybe Edouard or Owenawi for Isaac. But then it's who do you drop to the bench? That's the thing. So, yeah, it's tough. This is the problem, isn't it? That we all have players who could do well, who are very templatey, and then it's like, who do you remove in order to be slightly different?
It's too soon as well. I think you want to watch the last couple of matches, like see how City shape up, see how United shape up as well. And then sort of go from there. Maybe listen out for the leaks. Or not even leaks. I'm so over the leaks. The leaks is so annoying.
Should we chat about the leaks? Should we chat about the leaks? Do we need to talk about them? I don't know. Like,
no, I'm 0 Fs. We
need to.
Really don't care.
I would like them to be gone, right? So there's this whole discussion about, do we change the deadline in order to get rid of these leaks? Where do you stand on like that vibe? Would you? Because you're in Australia, right? So. Does changing the deadline, if it was a kickoff deadline, how would that would that make any difference to you?
Yeah, it'd be annoying.
It'd be annoying. Okay.
It'd be annoying because like there's matches that are on at like 1:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. So like tonight's match for you is actually 5 a.m. for me tomorrow. So yeah, that would be a pain. So I'm not too concerned about like the I don't know, like the timing of it.
Is it more annoying? Is it more annoying?
If anything, why not lock it in earlier?
See, I was thinking this, but there's such a culture, as you know, in the UK where people will finish their work on a Friday evening, they'll go out on a Friday evening, and then they'll have a lay-in on a Saturday. I wonder if...
Well, change your habits.
I was just thinking, I was wondering if that culture might, if people were to miss a few deadlines because of that sort of thing, whether it would put people in this country off playing a little bit. That would be my kind of thing with bringing it earlier.
It depends if FPL want a global audience.
Ooh.
If they're trying to entice a global audience versus the local, of course it will affect, and you're always going to have like the people that are, the managers that are dedicated. They will go out of their way no matter what, right? And make sure that their team is set up as they want it to be, and the rest of it. But I just don't think the leaks are going to go away. I just think that it's a bit harsh that there's only a privileged number of people that use Twitter, for example, or Instagram,
Well, that's what
because
I
it
was going
gets
to say to
Instagrammed.
you. Is it welcome, James, to the Nim fan, by the way? I was going to say, is it more annoying knowing that you're going to sleep and people could be getting information that you don't know about that could be aiding them? So myself, who's awake, is getting, say, a leak that, let's say the weekend that Haaland
Yeah,
doesn't
I get what you're
start.
saying.
Is that
Yeah.
more annoying than knowing if you really wanted to, you could just wake up, see what the team lineup was, and then go back to sleep again?
But that's exactly what I could do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was
Yeah.
thinking, like, that's why I think I would
If I if
prefer
I
it.
if I gave yeah, but if I gave a S about it,
Yeah.
then yeah.
Yeah. So,
Then yeah.
yeah, I just feel like that makes everyone a level playing field. People argue, okay, then we'll get leaks for the 3 PMs, and that's a whole new
But
kettle of fish. But I don't think that we will. If you look at last week, where we supposedly got the City team, we got like 4 leaks, and none of them were completely spot on. So I don't think
no.
anyone's really going to trust the 3 PM leaks, if you see what I mean.
No.
Like the likelihood of everyone there being enough people to kind of give us information on the 3 PMs that's going to be spot on is very unlikely, as opposed to now
Exactly.
where we are getting very specific spot on information,
Yeah,
annoyingly,
yeah.
from one or
So
two or three accounts really benefiting from that. And then a
yeah.
lot of other people in the world not benefiting from it because they're asleep, or, or they don't have access to Twitter, as you say.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a dose of that last year when I was traveling, and I had no Wi-Fi, no data, no signal, all of that. And so, I was making my transfers a week early. And so I didn't get the news, I didn't get leaks, I didn't even get like press and news, right? Like,
Hmm.
so I've already had a flavor of what it feels like not to have any of that, which is probably the same as millions of other managers as well that are not on Twitter, not on Instagram, not talking to other people that are getting the leaks. So
Hmm.
yeah, but I don't think it's okay that it's not a level playing field as well.
Agreed.
So I think especially for those cash mini leagues and sort of, any prizes or anything like that, it's a bit unfair for that. And I don't know if I don't think you can take away the leaks. I think they'll always be there. There's always
Hmm.
going to be, even content creators that are getting the leaks ahead of time, and they'll get a message, and it's up to them if they want to expose that and sort of let everyone else know and share it with their community as well. So yeah, it's a tough one, isn't
Hmm.
it?
It
Because
is.
on one hand it's a huge advantage, but on the other hand, there'll always be people or managers like myself who want to probably unsubscribe from that kind of
Hmm.
behavior as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'll be to the detriment of my success and my team and how I'm doing in FPL. But I think a part of me, from I don't know, a principal's point of view, is okay with that as well.
Mm. I think what's hard is that even when you try and avoid it, because a couple of times I've definitely tried to avoid it and stay away from it, is that you can't avoid that people will then put it in your group chats, in your DMs, send
Oh
them to
yeah.
you, and so you can't win either way, really. That's why,
Well, it's what you choose to do, though.
yeah,
It's what you choose to do. And so for me, I'm sort of, I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm seeing, I'll get like even you've sent me WhatsApp
yeah,
messages to
yeah,
say, hey, this is what I've heard. And, you've seen my reaction a couple of times. It's like, oh no, oh well,
yeah,
kind of thing, because
yeah, of
I'm
course.
choosing to give 0 Fs about it
Hmm.
versus sort of go panic. I need to do something about this now.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. And I think it's just because people choose. I would always want people to be as fair as possible. So knowing that you might be, busy getting ready for bed or whatever, what I'm trying to do is say, look, there's this information that I know of, like it's just so tough. Like, I don't want to be doing that. I'd rather it wasn't there. Honestly, I really would. I would just really wish we didn't have it, because that is, David, if you're asking for a difference between then and now, leaks were not a thing back then. They did not exist. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's never been a problem for Sky. And I know I talk a bit about Sky on here and things like that, but there's always been a kickoff, a deadline kickoff with Sky. It's never been a real issue with Sky. And for Sky users, having a set team for the City game for the 3 p.m.s last game week would have been really helpful, because it actually turns out that we still could have changed our teams up until the kickoff. So having those
Yeah.
3 p.m.s would have been really helpful. So you will have seen that a lot of people who played Sky were hopping onto those leaked teams, like asking, do you know this? Do you know that? Do you know the other?
Mm.
And the thing is, it just turned out that none of them did actually know, because they're not
Yeah.
going to know that early on. So it doesn't really affect people. I just think maybe it's the way to go. But will they do it? I don't know. I really don't know that they will.
I just don't think there's going to be much that can be done about that. I don't know if they'll shift it. You probably know more than I do, like in terms of
I don't think
some
there's
of
any
their plans and
plans.
things like
I don't
that.
think there's
But
any
yeah,
plans right now. So I'd
yeah,
be shocked. But it would be nice to have some change for next season. If we can't have a move in the deadline, then I think the things that I'd really like to see would be some sort of bonus system for non-attacking players. So, just
mm,
something, just like maybe an extra point or 2 points for a a central midfielder or defender that maybe a passing bonus, or something, or a tackle bonus,
yeah,
just to
sure.
bring a couple more players into the game, like that we
Hmm.
all kind of overlook a bit at the moment, because they don't really get attacking points. So that would be nice. And I would love it if they would lock off the price changes until the start, like till the end of the game week, so that
Yeah,
at the point we've made our team and we've gone away and we can play FPL, that we don't have to
I've
think about price
I've
changes.
ignored them this season.
Yeah,
And I'm
see,
glad.
so good.
I'm glad. I feel like I feel like this season I've been playing with a bit more freedom.
Mm,
And I
yeah.
think I I feel like it was when I was traveling that sort of pushed me over the edge with that, because even before then, I was really focused on, just kind of like just reading and sort of seeing what was available, and content that was available and all of that. And I did a lot of that last season because I was learning a lot. But being in Peru without any signal, especially when I was doing the Inca Trail, I was just like, I can't control anything.
No.
And it hurt, like, it was really painful in the beginning, but then it was, "Oh, I can't control anything.
Yeah.
This is great."
Hmm.
And I can just let
There was a
go, and I
sense
think
of
because I had
freedom.
that feeling, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, and because 'cause I'd sort of felt that, I've now been doing the same. So, whether it's going out and, getting wasted or whatever, and then looking at my team and then sort of going, "No, I should probably close the app," I've
Hmm.
been a little bit more sort of, I don't really care kind
Yeah.
of attitude. And that's really helped me to kind of keep a clearer mind.
Hmm. Yeah. No, that's That's a good way for us all to be, and that's a great way to end the show, I think. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for supporting myself and Mira throughout this season, and Ellie, of course, who joined us on this journey. So, and we've obviously had some guests and lovely female guests on as well. So thank you all that have joined and supported this stream in particular. You can find Mez exclusively on Twitter. Her handles on screen, and yeah, so just stay tuned. We'll let you know what's happening on Twitter, of course, when we know what's happening. And thank you so much, Mira, for joining me, because I've loved getting to know you. We've become good friends.
Likewise.
And that's been nice.
Yeah, and thank you.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm always. There's always a lot of people that are quite nervous to do something like this because they've never done it before. And if I can help kind of be the transition into it, to give it a go, whether you know, and experience it, whether you like it or not. Some people have come on and gone, that's not for me, I would never like to do that again, thank you very much. And then some people have thrived from doing it and gone on to do other things, which has been lovely as well. So if I can help in that situation, I always try to. So yeah, no, I really appreciate it.
That's really good.
So thank you all so much. Have a great game week 38. I hope the rest of game week 37 doesn't go brilliantly for you. So that I stand a bit of a chance.
green arrows for all of you. That is what I'm putting out there.
Oh, thanks. I'll take the green arrow. Yes, no. I hope the rest of Game Week 37 goes very well for you, and that you have just enjoy Game Week 38 because it's the last one, and
exactly. Yeah.
Just go into it. YOLO, isn't it, Mez? YOLO.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Until next time. Bye, guys. See you soon.
Bye, everyone.
When